At the Emmy Awards, Eugene and Dan Levy delivered a monologue that quickly became the center of attention for all the wrong reasons. Their comedic bit, aimed directly at Meghan Markle, was met with both laughter and gasps as the father-son duo took shots at the Duchess of Sussex, scrutinizing her royal relationships, media appearances, and what they implied was her performative activism. The Levys did not hold back, touching on some of the most contentious aspects of Markle's public persona. They portrayed her as someone who publicly seeks privacy but continually appears in media, a contradiction many have pointed out in the past. The core of their critique, however, was centered on her activism, with Eugene Levy going so far as to suggest that Markle's efforts for various causes seemed more focused on maintaining her public image rather than creating any real change. The message was clear. They saw her as someone more invested in self-promotion than altruism. Dan Levy joined in, offering sarcastic quips about Markle's constant public complaints about the scrutiny she faces, juxtaposed with her decision to keep putting herself in the spotlight. At one point, Dan mocked Markle's high-profile interviews, saying, "For someone who just wants to be left alone, she sure knows how to find the camera every time." While some audience members laughed, others were visibly uncomfortable. The division of opinion was even more pronounced when the monologue hit social media. A firestorm of reactions ensued, with users split between praising the Levys for their boldness and condemning them for what many saw as a personal and unnecessary attack. Supporters of the Levys took to Twitter and Instagram, applauding them for saying what many had been thinking but were too afraid to voice. Finally, someone is calling out Meghan's hypocrisy, one post read, followed by a slew of comments in agreement. For these viewers, the Levys had perfectly captured a growing sentiment that Markle's activism, particularly around privacy and mental health, felt self-serving and out of touch. But the backlash was swift and severe. Critics argued that the Levys were punching down, attacking a woman who had already faced immense scrutiny and abuse, particularly from the British tabloids. Many felt that targeting Markle, especially in such a public setting, was not only mean-spirited but also perpetuated a cycle of criticism that has followed her since she entered the royal spotlight. "This isn't comedy, it's bullying," one Twitter user declared, capturing the feelings of many who were outraged by the segment. The monologue also reignited the long-standing debate about Markle's public image, particularly her struggle to balance a desire for privacy with the reality of being a global public figure. Her defenders pointed out that Markle has used her platform to advocate for important causes, such as gender equality and racial justice, and that these efforts should be recognized rather than mocked. "She's doing more than most of us to make the world a better place, and this is how she gets treated," one commenter wrote, sparking further discussion about the treatment of women, especially women of color, in the media. On the flip side, Markle's critics were quick to seize on the Levys' jokes as validation of their long-held skepticism about her sincerity. For years, detractors have accused Markle of leveraging her royal connections for personal gain, pointing to her multimillion-dollar deals with Netflix and Spotify, as well as her high-profile interviews, including the infamous Oprah interview. The Levys' monologue, in the eyes of these critics, was simply voicing what they had felt all along, that Markle's activism and public persona were more about maintaining relevance than making a real difference. The monologue has since become one of the most talked-about moments of the Emmys, far overshadowing other performances and winners. Clips of the segment have gone viral, with hashtags like #LevyMarkleMonologue and #EmmysControversy trending on social media. The intense reactions have shown just how polarizing a figure Markle remains, even years after stepping back from her royal duties. What's clear is that the Levys succeeded in grabbing the audience's attention, but at what cost? The backlash suggests that their comedic risk may have alienated a significant portion of viewers who felt the attack on Markle was in poor taste. Whether this will have any lasting impact on the Levys themselves remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure, their monologue has reignited a debate that shows no signs of quieting down anytime soon. As the dust settles, the focus is likely to return to Markle and how she chooses to respond, if at all. Will she continue to stay silent and rise above the controversy, or will she address the Levys' comments head-on? In the ongoing saga of Meghan Markle's public life, the next chapter is always just around the corner.